Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Jenny.
We are here to show you how to use leather with small hold beads. We have some turquoise here and some aquamarine. They usually come with these smaller holes just for beading with the bead wire, but we're going to show you a trick to use and still incorporate some of that leather look with a button or clasp of your choice. So here we have a bracelet that is made with some lovely beads, but all of these beads have small holes. So we can't run a leather or cotton cord or anything like that through them. But if you still want to have that look, and you can see here I have added, or actually Alan made this bracelet, so she's added this leather here at the end and incorporated it into the clasp. So if you want to do something like that, we're going to show you how right now. We're going to start with just a simple beaded bracelet, and you can do the same technique for a necklace as well. We're going to start by just beading a simple bracelet just like you would normally with your 7 or 19 or 49 strand wire. And then what are we going to do next?
Put on one crimp bead onto, well, I guess just that end, but on that end, you see I left just a tiny little bit of space.
Yeah,
so I need
got,
a little more
I got enough space there.
I did one of those no things.
So I'm going to put on my crimp bead just like I normally would. And then I'm going to start incorporating my leather.
Okay.
So go ahead and cut a nice little length of leather.
I think for the other one, we just used about...
So it depends on what you want to do. You can see here, we really don't have very much. Here we have a sample where we incorporated more of the leather or cotton cording. So you want to think about how much of that bracelet your leather or cotton cording is going to take up, and then multiply that by 2 because you're going to double it, and then add in a couple inches or so if you're going to do knots, because knots really do take up quite a bit of space there when you tie that.
I'm going to play it safe and do about a foot.
Works for me. So we're going to play it safe with about a foot, and that in. So when we cut that foot, we're actually going to double it. We're going to fold it right in half, so our cut ends are going to meet.
Well, we didn't double a foot though.
We didn't double the foot. We folded the foot. We doubled it. We folded it in half. So we doubled the amount of strands that we're working with. And so our cut ends are going to be together, and then I have the end here, or the center here where I folded it, is going to be like a little loop here. And this is what I am going to take my wire around. Now, did you do a knot first?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. So you just held it out there.
Yeah, but make sure to, here, can I give you some more space here?
Yeah. Oops.
There you go.
Okay. So I've got my crimp bead on, and I gave this little pinch so I knew exactly where the center was, and I'm going through that center, and then I'm going to go back through that crimp bead and through a number of beads here just to hide that cut edge, and pull that. And then I don't need to pull this too tight. I want to let some of that wire around the leather. I want the leather to be able to kind of move freely through that little loop of wire, but without being too visible. So what I'm going to do is make sure it sits about like that. I can move it. It's not choking it. It's not pinching it off, but I don't have too much showing there. And then I'm going to take my pliers and just give that a nice little squish there. Now, if you have the pliers that you use if you have crimping pliers, you can use those as well, but I just gave that guy a good little squish, and he's good like that. And then I'm going to take my cutters, here, thank you, ma'am, and just cut off any extra that I don't need, and run all that down. Okay.
Now is when I tied the little knot.
So now at this point, we're going to take this and tie a little knot in our leather here. And we're going to hold it together. Did you have any sort of technique? You just
Same.
did overhand?
Yep,
Okay.
that's what I was gonna say.
Just overhand, and then as you tie it,
Pull it over the
you're
crimp.
gonna pull it, you're gonna kind of push it over the crimp bead and pull one strand and pull the other
That's
strand.
exactly what I did too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good thing. Good
Yeah.
mind. Good minds think alike. Is that what it is?
Great.
Great minds. Not good. Oh, I downgraded us.
That's fine. That's what I'm operating at right now.
So what I did is I just used that knot that I was creating to cover the crimp bead.
Isn't that fun?
And so now you can't even see that little crimp bead.
It's like magic.
Yeah. You can, if you want to, you can add a little bit of glue in there. You can add a dab of, you had also mentioned
Clear nail polish.
Clear nail polish. Yeah, something like that. But this should hold pretty well. But if you want to add something like that to hold it, one of those will do. So now on the other side here, actually, we should probably do this side first, right?
Yeah,
that's
so that
our
was
cut button.
the nice thing about leaving this till last is that you can measure many times and then cut just one time.
Yes. So on the other side of our strung portion of our bracelet here, we're going to add our clasp, and we're going to use a button. So all I'm going to do here is pick up another one of my little crimp beads and let that fall down. I'm going to go through my cut button, and then if I want to add some seed beads or something on the top of here, I can. Do I have a couple of little seed beads rolling around? I have 2 of my seed beads here, so I'm just gonna...
Well,
These
look,
are just 11
put one of these in the middle of your 2 seed beads.
Oh, okay. So now we can kind of dress up the cut button here, because we don't really want to see just a piece of stainless steel wire run from one hole to of the crimp bead, or one hole of the cut button to the other.
No way, man.
No way, man. So we do that, we add that, we go back down, give that a nice little tug, and look how cute that is. Good. Yeah, look how cute that is. Okay, give it a nice little tug. And then I'm going to take my very gnarly wire at this point and just go back through that crimp bead. So this is just basic beading techniques, nothing really new or strange about this. Just going back through the crimp bead, and then a bead or 2 or 3, whatever you can get it to go through. And I like to get it started and then pull it with my wire, with my pliers here. And then again, I'm just going to give that a little pinch. Now here on this side, this is where you may want to use something like a crimper.
I think you have one over there.
Because this bead, or this crimp bead, you're not going to cover with anything. So with the crimper, if you have one of these handy little crimpers, you're going to start here. And you're going to go crimp one direction, and it's going to kind of give it that nice little U shape. And you're going to crimp in the other direction here. And get that nice and flat. It's a little hard for me to see. Get that nice and flat there, yeah. And we're going to go in here and cut off any of that excess.
That's pretty.
Thanks, yeah. I think that looks really nice. So Jenni did this section, and I'm doing the section you're watching now. This is a team effort. So now, you were talking about how we can measure multiple times, and we have options here. We can, if we want a very, very tiny little bracelet, we can just do a little knot here, and that knot will be the end of the loop, and then just by prying the pieces of leather apart between the knots, we have a nice little loop. But that's quite a tiny little bracelet. So what we like to do is...
I was also going to say with this one, like on this one, you can see that there's just 2 loops.
Yeah.
But on this one, it would be nice if you left a big space and then put your loop just for a little touch of...
Yeah. So the leather doesn't have to just be the clasp. You can incorporate it into the whole design of the bracelet. So if we go, let's see, where do we need? Maybe about that much room.
Mm-hmm. That looks right.
Make a nice little overhand knot here and try to keep the lengths always the same. So even as you tie those knots, you want to make sure that your lengths of the leather here are the same. And so sometimes I pull them independently just to make sure I'm really getting them nice. And
that's why I start with a little extra, because I'm never really good at keeping the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. So you really want to give yourself extra. Yeah. So that would be, so then here we need to think about, if this is going to be our first hole, how much space we need to leave here between one hole or one knot and the next to allow us to go over that cut button. I'm going to make another knot here. And this is really kind of forgiving, because if you just start pulling this knot down, you're going to be able to see, okay, this looks like it's going to work here, but I need to test it out. I'm going to just make sure that this works. Let's hold it the right way. Yeah, okay.
I like
so
it.
That'll work very well. So I can go ahead and then continue with my knot the rest of the way and really make sure that's nice and tight. And then if I want to do another little loop here, or another little section that I can enter my button, put my button into, that'll actually give me 2 sizing options,
and if you
which
make
is really nice.
I was gonna say, if you make it for your buddy, then you don't have to know.
Yeah. So I'm going all the way to the end here. Actually, that was a little
That
bigger,
might be a little
okay.
too big. You think it'll stay?
I think it'll stay. Yeah, it'll stay. So I'm gonna probably cut some of this leather off at the end here. So I'm just gonna grab it and give it a nice tight pull to make sure that I have that knot tight. So I've got a nice little section here that's just going to be like a fun little leather addition to my bracelet. And then I have my first option here for where to end it if I want a small little bracelet. That's kind of like a kid size. And then, yeah, I think I made this loop a little too big, but that's okay. And then
get the point.
Yeah, you get the point. It's not going to fall out. So then you have your second option there if you want a larger bracelet. So this is great for, yeah, if you don't know the size of someone's wrist, you can essentially make an extension chain type here with the leather. And at the end here, I'm just going to snip off anything that I don't need. I can add a little bit of glue, or I can stitch it, or I can add a little bit of that nail polish you were talking about and have a lovely end there that will not come apart. So here you can see a couple different options here. And here on the original one, we just beaded the whole thing, did that same end here. So we attached it in the very same way, but then just left one loop or one sizing option instead of multiples. So if I take this off, you can see exactly what this all looks like. Very fun, right?
Mm-hmm. They're great for stacking too.
Yeah.
That would make a nice armful.
Yeah, great. And sometimes these knots just look really great as like beads themselves. So I would play around with that. But there you go. Yeah, lovely. Thanks for joining us on this video. I hope you learned how to use leather with some of the smaller hold beads that you have at home. If you enjoyed this video and you want some more ideas on how to use gemstones, small hold beads, leather, big hold beads, anything you can think of, go ahead and subscribe to this channel and then turn on your notifications. We will then be able to notify you as soon as we have new videos out, so you won't miss anything, and you will know first before all your friends who also subscribe to the channel know. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.